everyone and welcome! So today I am super excited about this project. On Discord we talked a lot of ideas of like what's gonna be our next project. We were headed towards kind of like the Dragula from the Munsters go-kart build, which is still on the list by the way because I totally want to do that. But every time I stream to you guys, over on that corner where my toolboxes are sits this thing. And this thing's been sitting there for probably about 2 years, just like eyeing me up and like telling me, hey, I'm taking up some real estate here in your little shop, valuable real estate with, that you need. And I ain't paying you no rent. I'm staying here for free. Well, in this shop, no one stays here for free. You gotta pay your way and earn your way to reserve your spot because it's pretty squishy in here. So I decided, you know what? Let me kind of sneak this project in first. That way, we don't have to kick it out into the cold streets this winter. So I see you guys joining. Of course, Dave Beck with his offerings of drumsticks. This is somewhat of a lunchtime stream. So yes, I will take your virtual drumsticks. And we have Larry's here. Time to phone it in. Oh yeah, I wish we could phone it in. We're probably gonna actually have to work this stream and figure out what's going on with this phone. And Ron Shanks is here. You're cool, he says. Awesome. Well, I think this project is gonna be pretty cool. So the only one we're waiting on, hopefully he will make his way to this stream at some point, is Richard Ball, who you guys see, he comes in and out of the streams. Turns out when I posted about this phone, he is a phone collector and knew pretty much everything. I was like, oh my God, you got to make the stream tomorrow and help us out. So Brian Henderson has just joined. I have to wonder how many people have no clue what a rotary phone is. I know. I'm thinking a lot. Try and ask anyone to figure out how to dial out in this thing. The first thing that they ask is, well, how do you text on it? Okay. So the objective for this is to not only get it working, because I'd like to use it like as a home office phone, but without the coin functionality, because that's going to be annoying to have to try and find coins all the time to activate the phone. Now, for this particular model, which is the LPB 8655 from Automatic Electric, it does need the coin functionality for it to work, but there's ways to bypass that to modernize the phone. So it's not going to be like a be all end all. Now, I don't know what the internals look like. This is something I bought very inexpensively online because I thought at the very least, say it's a hunk of junk inside, I thought that the exterior looks cool. We can do something with this. We can use the outer housing, maybe turn it into a mini jukebox or some kind of aquarium, something. I figure we figure something out. I've seen some people take the handset here and make it like a little lamp or something, and they put like cool little Edison bulbs and it looks really neat. So we're gonna figure out what direction we're gonna take this in depending on what the insides look like. And Silvio from Brazil is here. He's saying, hi, Rachel, everything cool? Oi, Silvio, muito bem de ver você de novo. All right, so some of the Brazil peeps are coming on. And Bounty Hunter Breaks is back. Didn't know I needed to bring my old SI football phone. Oh my gosh, I want the hamburger phone. Look at the collection I got going on. So I'm not gonna say that I'm like a collector by any means, because these are like cheap. So clearly I don't know which ones are the valuable ones. Got my little Heinz ketchup phone here and it's got this little keypad. And I figure if none of these work, there's so many cool components that we can use from these, like these little keypads. I have a cool little Chevy, a little barrel hour looking thing. That's what I assume it is. And you can switch from pulse to tone functionality on that. And I'm going to cover my face so it focuses on that. So a little more modern, this phone where we're moving up the future, ranks. And then we got this phone here from Pizza Inn. Now I'm going to assume this is a place, but I call him my Luigi. It's my Luigi phone. And what I liked about this is the radial type setup, even though it's push buttons. So I always figured we might be able to do something with, this type of functionality here. And, you talk into his, or listen from his shoulder, which is, kind of strange, and talking to the bass, like that. So I'm still looking for my very favorite one, which they're all over the internet. I just haven't like gotten around to buying it, which is the hamburger phone, the flip hamburger phone. That's one of my favorites. And so Pinball is saying, I remember the 550 and 551 and the last four digits to make it ring, you're going back in time there. You are going back in time. Brian Henderson saying, where's the Garfield phone? I forgot about the Garfield phone. That might trump the hamburger phone. Yeah. And so yes, this is kind of like my little mini phone collection, which is nowhere near as big as what Rich has. So hopefully he'll jump on, but we're going to move on and see if he chimes in a little later. And Jeff Williams is, man, you guys are bringing up some phones. The banana phone. I need to write this down. I need to go back through this chat and make a list and just buy all these, because they're awesome, and have them all ringing, like set them all back here, have them ringing at the same time. I always talked about doing cool things for the stream where when you guys do something or we get to the 100th comment or something happens. And so we have our web shooting spider. Maybe that goes off. Maybe all these phones ring, something. But, I want to add a little bit of fun. So I'm going to put these guys somewhere where I won't step on them. Probably on the floor here so we can start working on this guy. So the objective with him is to turn him into a home office line that does not use the coin functionality. And we have our coin return here. The little door seems to be missing, and we have our coin vault here. And you see I have a couple other random parts. Like, what the heck is this? And so my idea is to take this phone, and if we can convert it to home office use, maybe also upcycle it in some kind of way. So one of the things I was thinking is, because I don't plan to use it as a piggy bank, I'm kind of done with that. Then you gotta like drive the coins to the bank. It's a mess, So I try and get rid of all the spare change that I can in the house. So one idea I had was I was wanting to build a steampunk like automotive parts lamp, like one of those cool pipe lamps, but all made from automotive parts. And I thought about, adding a little bit of modernization to it. But the more I thought of it, I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. So I kind of have this spare thing lying around. This was supposed to be for my automotive, like, junkyard type lamp, and I want this lamp to be driven via an alternator because I thought that would be a fun project. But that's in the works. I'm still collecting car parts like old headlights and things like that for us to make our lamp. But in the meantime, these are super cheap to get. I can get another one easy. They're all over the internet. So I thought, is there a way that we can combine this into some kind of office hutch, or not just make it a phone? So I was looking at this plate right here. Can we add perhaps an analog clock with some lighting? In this vault area, perhaps we can add something like this where you can charge laptops, you can charge phones, something like that, to modernize it a little more so it's not just like a giant, telephone. Although that's in and of itself pretty cool. And then I have a wire that we can wire up any lighting or, a receptacle and things like that. So those are just ideas. Perhaps on this side we can have a pipe situation with our, gas with a light bulb coming down, like an Edison light bulb. And for my original pipe lamp idea, before changing my mind and wanting to use only car parts, I had already gone out and bought kind of an old-timey birdcage type of lamp. And I'm just kind of giving you guys ideas because we don't know what we're going to find inside this thing. It might be hollow, and then the stream is over. And then Bill Fraser saying, "Good morning, Your Majesty." Well, yes, it's Queen Diva. No, anything but. So a lot of people ask me, like, how did you come up with the name Gearhead Diva? Like, what's the secret, right? Because you're neither like a diva, you don't have a diva attitude. Where did that come from? So back in the day where people were reserving URLs like crazy and domain names, there wasn't much left. So I just started typing stuff with Gearhead in it, and Gearhead Diva was available. So I was like, I'll take it right now. And then if I change my mind or something, I can always look for another one, but I can get started with Gearhead Diva, So I look at being a diva as somebody that doesn't accept not knowing how to do something. Yes, we are going to facepalm a lot. We're going to face plant a lot, but eventually we're going to get there, and we're going to be diva till we get there. That's our diva. So Bill Fraser's liking the clock idea. And then Larry saying, how about a Bitcoin payphone? Ooh, Okay. All right. That's a pretty good idea. Now, I don't know much about Bitcoin, but I'm sure there's a way we can program, something into it. So anyways, let's see. Maybe I'll move this in front of me here. Now, the other consideration is that this thing like weighs like an elephant. I might as well be lifting a baby elephant right now and putting it over here. So it's definitely going to have to go on a stud. And I know I'm going to be like eeny, meeny, miny, mo to the studs. And the studs are going to be like, yeah, don't pick me. Woman, keep walking. Keep walking. Don't put that thing on me. So what I like about this is got like an old-timey type of, cord, which I thought is cool. Maybe not period correct to this telephone, because from what I looked up, it seems like they made this model anywhere from the 1950s to the early 60s. Now, the early 60s version of this has a circuit board. The older one has a terminal. So we're going to see what we got cooking in here. And this connects to, obviously you can put a Edison bulb in here, and it connects to a bird cage. So I thought it would be cool to kind of, maybe mount some kind of light, this might be too big, but some kind of light situation where you have a desk lamp as well, or maybe it can sit up here or something. We'll figure it out. So I'm going to move these guys aside out of view here because we're not ready for that. We're not ready. We got to see what's going on inside this thing. So let's see here. We'll start opening it, right? So I'm going to move it over here. Oh my gosh. So first things first. How rich am I? What do you guys think? How rich am I? Let's see. And so this has got 2 keys on it. And let me see if I can give you guys a better view here. And one of them is like those old time kind of skeleton keys. I haven't really found a reason for this key right here. So I'm thinking, I don't know why it's here. So then there's this one, which is probably the most important key of all. This is the 29S key. And let me shed some light on the subject right there. Look at that. Yeah. And let's bring you guys in a little bit closer. There we go. So you kind of see what the heck is going on. And this is probably the most important key. And Rich kind of had a cool tidbit that this opens all like the top boxes right here. But it turns out that this key also opens the bottom lock. So the bottom lock has been modified, to be able to use this key. And this lock up here is a little broken. The key won't go in it, but I found just using a flathead screwdriver was all that I needed. So people are saying, okay, from around the socials, social media, that they're liking the clock. Larry's saying a cool table lamp, but that is too easy. I am not going to disagree with Larry. We tend to tackle some tough things, so I thought about maybe building out like an executive desk hutch, where it's embedded in some kind of wooden structure with shelving for files. Or because we are in a shop, what about a small bits type of container similar to this, but not plasticky? We can make it look kind of a diner look. And I thought about taking this from black to maybe like a minty green, 1950s, 60s diner type of look, and age it, so we can do some age painting effects. And Dave Beck is saying, you are more of the anti-diva. Yep, tend to put others first. Oh, I try. And then But yeah, I just go with the flow, so sometimes people laugh when they meet me. They think, I've actually been told, I thought you were going to be kind of bitchy, kind of attitudey. And I'm like, nah, let's roll with it. It's just the name that was available. Sometimes like parents, you don't get to pick your name. They pick it for you. And sometimes you got to wonder what they were smoking at the time, but sometimes you end up with an awesome name. And Bounty Hunter is saying, it's just like Al Capone's glove box. It's empty. Oh, so he is predicting this is going to be empty. And Brian Henderson is saying the skeleton key might have been for the junction box that the phone line's tied to. Oh, that makes sense. And Dave is saying Al Capone's empty safe. I totally remember that. Yeah. All right, I'm going to, just kind of turn this around and cheat to see if I can see what's going on here. And now this key is a little bent. And I know Dave suggested I stick it on a vise and flatten it out. And I almost did, but I chickened out. I chickened out because I thought I would, maybe warp the teeth or something like that. So Let's see, I'm gonna put on my eyeballs to see much better at what I'm doing here. So instead, maybe what I should do so you guys can kind of see what's going on is to lean this back. Take a nap there, little phone. Let's take a nap. Oh, people are playing The Price is Right. So pinball's going $3.20. You know what? To make this fair, I should shake it. I should shake it. Yeah, I can't talk today. So let's see how much money. Actually, let me shake it in a way that the keys aren't jingling. All right, the little jangles in there. Bill Frazier's giving me 2 pennies. Oh no. So let's see if I can get this in a way where you guys can see and back you out a little bit. Back you out. There we go. And let's see if I can, there we go. So I'm going to be working here, and let's see if I can get this key in. So it kind of looks like it's supposed to go in like that. And again, this may take us a couple tries. Because it is quite rusty, but I was able to slip it in, but I didn't want to ruin the surprise, so I didn't want to look and see what the change situation is. But now it's camera shy because you all are like guessing so low. It's like, And safe cracker mode. Yep, that's... Oh, Bill Frazier has increased his bet. He is saying now that it is 5 pennies. So, all right, you guys are making me richer. So I know it definitely doesn't go that way. It goes this way. And it's nice to see or know what the skeleton... Oh, guys, it's just magic. You just gotta, like, find the right little position for it. And again, it is kind of bent. So it's tough to... get it. Oh, no, don't come out. Go back in. It's almost in. Maybe I should, oh, and the lock is a little bit wiggly. It's a little bit wiggly. It wants to open. It wants to reveal its deliciousness. So maybe I will do, Dave's idea, which I'm taking this to the side here and just real lightly. Sorry, microphone people. Oh, it's the end. So the end of the key was a little bent, which probably was part of the problem as to why I didn't want to go all the way in. But these keys are available online, so you can purchase one. And I might go get the WD-40 to help negotiate this situation as we move on. And we'll have to wait for the suspense of it. Although I am not giving up. But let me WD-40 this, and then we'll come back to it, and then we'll start on this part right here. So, one moment, people. I'm gonna put you on a brief, like, not even 1 second intermission, and I'll be right back. All right, got the WD-40 here, and this one's the one with the little stick. And we're just going to, give it a little love. And let it do its thing there as we move on. So I'm going to turn this back upright. Oh, there's some money there. I might be rich. Rich, rich, rich. And Pinball says, "Where's Geraldo?" And Silvio from Brazil is saying, "Open a lock or call a locksmith to open it." Yeah, we may have to do that. These keys, I imagine the locks are simple. Maybe you can make a copy, or I can take that key and make a clean copy of the key that is not bent. So we've doubled the Daves. Awesome, Dave Wells is here, and I think he's got one of the highest ones at $2.50. There might have been a $3 person before up there, but yes, you are among the top bidders for what's in here. So now we are going to attempt to open this. And for this, I stuck a screwdriver here previously, and it seemed to have loosened it. See? So we're going to try and see what's going on here. And I'm going to move this closer to you guys, and then we'll lay it down. But let's see if I can open this kind of backwards. Okay, it's opened up. It seems to have some kind of hinging mechanism at the top. Oh, it popped off. All right, so it's not connected. The two halves are not connected, which I've seen other people pop these open, and there is normally a cable that goes from this side to this side when it is the circuit board version. We clearly don't have the circuit board version. We have the old terminal version. So this leads me to believe that this is a prior to 1960 phone. Now, you know, I need to do more research on that, but yes, I had a really tough time finding production years for these things. So looking at it, all right, let's do one half at a time, you know? So when you turn the dial here, it seems to turn smoothly. Let me see if I can do this backwards. There's no jerking around with any of the numbers. I don't know who I'm dialing. Ghostbusters, probably. So that looks to be working, you know? So I say, let's kind of tackle this guy first and see what's going on inside. We'll put him aside, and then we'll look at this. And there's something that's very obviously missing here, which is our coin relay, which right now doesn't have me crying because I wasn't going to want to use the coin functionality anyways. So let's take a look at this half, and I'm going to jump you guys to this view. And Richard Ball is here. And yes, he is right. It uses fingers to connect, which I'll give you guys a closer view. It's really interesting. So I hadn't seen that before. And what I'm going to do is see if there's a towel here, or a paper towel. And what I'm going to do is lay this guy down, but just kind of protect him a little bit, just so you guys can see what's going on. And I know my head's getting cut off, but that's okay. So we're gonna move this guy over here. Meanwhile, my wall studs in the shop are watching this and being like, oh no, don't be putting that thing here. Oh, hell no. So in order to kind of determine what's going on here, you know, obviously this is your coin chute. It takes nickels, dimes, and quarters. And if we all remember kind of the old dining phones, these do not have ringers because they were primarily made to call out. Later, they had ringers on the outside, along with a network, you know, according to Rich. He knows a lot about these machines. Later ones came with a ringer. Later payphones. So especially like the touch dial one, and you can star 69 to see who called you back. See, young people don't have all that fun stuff. Or my absolute favorite, where you're in the house, and one thing I want to do is definitely, if this works, give myself a much longer cord, because I'm a walker when I talk. Like I go up and down the hallway, you know, talking. So I want one of them long cords like I used to have as a kid. Because, you know, your sister gets on the phone. You gotta know what's going on. Is she talking about her boyfriend? What is she saying to her friends? So no young person will ever know the joy of developing 007 skills at an early age. Because all you had to do is, if somebody was on the other line, so quietly, I mean real quiet, and then you listen in. Yeah. And then you wait for them to hang up first. That's the trick. They hang up first, because then you can hang up, you know? And they would never know somebody was listening in on the other line. So much easier to spy back then than it is now. So, Pinball is saying slugs from electrical box knockouts. Yep. Anthony Cisneros, I was going to buy donuts, but my curiosity is making me watch. Good, I'm going to lose weight. Yeah, I'll be working on this. So yes, now I'm thinking about your donuts. I think I'll gain weight just thinking about the donuts. All right. Bill Fraser saying, I got cloths lined by one of those cords. This one does have a little bend in it, though, but I don't think it's enough to sever, anything. So, yes, I'm a huge fan of the big, long, curly cords, and we'll see if we can find one to match the color that we'll eventually put on this. And chime in what color you want. I'm thinking of like a diner type of color, maybe like a cherry red, or the minty green, which I think would be kind of cool. But looking at this situation right here, we have our coin chute, and I can already see there's some screws missing for this. The biggest portion that is missing here is where the quarter normally is a electromagnet for slug rejection. So that's missing. And perhaps look at this interesting work right here. And Rich Ball is saying, in order to convert this, you will not need a coin relay. So I'm kind of suspect that maybe this was a working phone without the coin operation already. And so when I bought it off of eBay, they just took the whatever conversions that you have to do and left the phone. And that's why this is not operating. But what would happen, and Rich can correct me if I'm wrong, when you put in a quarter, you would hear this gong, and I'm going to take this out and we can strike the gong. A nickel would hit this bell here one time and a dime would hit it twice. And you see some wires kind of going here, and this was your signal transmitter that would transmit these noises to your phone operator that would route all the calls. And so they can listen in, and if they heard a gong, they know that was 25 cents and how many times the bell rung, so they knew how much money you put in and if you could make your call. Now, of course, them people like to put in foreign coins, washers, trying to cheat the system. Well, that's what your electromagnet was for, up here that it is missing. So I did find a manual for this that we can take a brief look at. I'm just going to transfer us over to the computer. So if you guys follow me, and I won't swing over the mic, I'll just try and talk really, really loudly for us to take a view at what parts we're going to be looking for. And here we go. So, and the mic is here, so I'm going to be talking like this. But anyways, I was able to find this that covers a few different models within the same thing. And ours is this one, the LPB 8655, right there. So it talks about, the company, a little bit about the phone. The phone looks, pretty much like what we have here. And installation. So the way you would put this on the wall is to attach the backing panel first, like, the biggest piece. And then you would put the piece that we're looking at now on, after that. Connect the cord if you have more like the 1960s version, or with this, you just want to make sure that all your contacts are contacting correctly and the box is pushed all the way in before you lock it. So I just keep looking back at your commentary, and Dave Beck is saying phone spying did kill your modern connections. Yep. And Bill Fraser saying clotheslined. Bill Pinball is saying the longest yard scene clothesline classic. Indeed. So this just tells the tech, how to set it up, how to test it. So this is kind of like what we're looking at here, this internals. And we can see already that this part right here, and it may be kind of hard to see on the screen, this is your, that electromagnet I was talking about. And let's see, I'm going to slide this over just a little bit. That is number 3. So it's called the relay magnet. And then other parts are like that I was talking about, number 10, the coin signal transmitter assembly right around here with those wires coming out. Now I read that some of them, the bell has a separate one too. I don't know if that's the case with this one. So you can kind of get an idea of like all the parts, whether or not they're here. Coin chute mounting screws. There are 3 mounting screws, here, here, and here. I only saw 2 mounting screws in our situation. So it looks like for the most part, everything is here except this electromagnet business right here. We're missing that. And if we scroll down to this part, you see some stuff going on right here. And this is your coin relay. We're missing this entirely. But that's okay because we don't want to do anything with the coins. We don't even want to use any coins. We're going to be kind of converting this to something else. But you can see that this looks a lot like what we got, going on. This hole right here is where the wire comes out the back. And this is where we're going to be splicing in a phone line, then taking it to a pulse to tone converter. Unless I think Larry was saying certain areas still recognize pulse. I don't know, but I'm going to get one just in case, just in case for us to be able to test it. And then Rich was saying that on top of this, we still need a network on top of that. So I'll have to go and grab one of those. But at least this gives us an idea of like what's missing, how is this stuff supposed to work? And here you can see a drawing diagram of the different chutes and the transmitter here, because that operator is not going to let you make the call. Now, we're not going to spend a ton of time as to how the coin stuff worked because I don't have any of this, so it's kind of tough to see it. But this manual is posted on Discord if any of you guys want to check it out. If you are also hacking, modding your own phone, it comes chock full of wiring diagrams and all that, so, probably going to be helpful down the line. But, it gives you an idea of how these things worked. And by just thumbing through this manual, I was really impressed at how complex this coin mechanism is. It's insanely complex. And Kurt Benning is here. Awesome. Hello, Kurt Benning. Nice to see you again. And Rich Ball is saying some were chrome. So I probably missed when you said that. So what was chrome? Was it the bell that was chrome? This kind of feels like iron. I mean, this thing's heavy, So let's start taking it apart. And that would be cool if this bell were chrome right here. And I'm going to, it's pretty much in a good place right there. And for this, let me grab this guy over here and this guy over here. Normally I like to use hand tools when taking apart a lot of this old stuff. And this looks to be a screw that needs to be removed. Right here, and we'll see what this chute looks like. Because one of the things I notice is that the gong here is hitting these little terminals. So it can't even, it doesn't even gong because it's being blocked. So this is probably not even sitting in here the correct way. Probably needs to shimmy somewhat. Dave said, oh, Dave already downloaded the phone manual so I can take over the world. Yes, you two will own pulse dialing technology. So let's see. Other than the missing electromagnet, which it may have not gone on here, but it's kind of suspicious that we got some serious soldering welding situation going on there. And let's see if I can... This guy is in a really tough spot here. And so the objective for today is see what parts are missing, what condition is the wiring in. Is it like, how sometimes you open the hood of a car and it's all burnt? It's so bad that the insulation is cracking all over the place, so you have a really bad fire hazard. I recall that I think the phone line, when we get to this side, carries something like 90 volts or something like that. I didn't know it was that many volts. So we still have our signal transmitter kind of wired in. So I'm just going to carefully turn this around. And that's pretty cool because you can see all of the chutes here. And I'm trying to feel out. So this is our 25 right here. So if this were sitting like that, this is our 25-cent chute. And if you follow it along, now I don't know that this is 100% correct, but it would take a path in which it hits this gong right here and make a sound like... Oh, that sounds more authentic when you hit it from here. So the reason it's called a cathedral gong is that in the early days, cathedrals actually use this design, and that's what gives it that deep, like, bong, bong. It's not always necessarily bells. And so that's why they called this a cathedral gong as well. Now, I've seen this called two different names, just bell or solid solid gong. So hopefully Rich knows the correct name. And Rich saying, don't lose the screws. They are not common threads. Oh my gosh, I better like put them in a place where I can find them. So I'm gonna make a little careful screw pile right here, because yeah, that'll be tough. And Larry is saying 90 volts was for the ringer. Okay, I knew there was a 90 going around somewhere. So that was for the ringer. Now the dime, which is in the middle, the dime in the middle, it would hit this gong twice. It would take a path and hit it in the top and then hit it in the bottom and then go out. So it would just be like that. And now your nickel would take a path such that it would only hit, I believe, the bottom. So the operator on the other end, via the signal transmission right here, would listen for these sounds and count up how much you paid. And that electromagnet that sits on this side, somewhere here at the top, would reject any washers or foreign coins or anything like that. So obviously, you know, Rich is really the expert, so you can feel welcome to fill in and or correct anything that I'm saying. This is just stuff I read and I'm trying to go from memory. But I'm going to put this aside here. Here, of course, is our lock mechanism. So it kind of doesn't work. I was able to crack this open with a screwdriver. So now the wiring, if I tilt this here, the wiring actually looks decent. It doesn't look like it's corroded at all at the terminals. The terminals look actually pretty shiny. And it looks like there's 5 wires that go to the dial mechanism right here. So there are a couple of screws there. And now that Rich said, don't be losing them screws, we're gonna listen to that. And let me see if I can, if there's a way to, these wires are kind of held in place here. Put my eyeballs on, hold on. No, so they're kind of stuck here. I'm just gonna lay this gently like that. Now, we're also going to not lose these screws, but for this, it's gonna fall forward. I might as well tilt this up for you guys and switch. We'll come here and I'll move it closer. So all I'm doing is, actually I'll start this way. This is confusing. There we go. I'll start this way and I'm going to remove these 3 screws and see what happens. So since they are closest to me, and we can see the coin chute here, we can see that the little felt is coming up in a few places, but this seems to be welded into place. And the nameplate here, as well as our coin dropper, you know, where you drop in the coins, seems to be riveted in via these rivets. So if we ever wanted to remove the plate for, I don't know, whatever reason, or replace this, it seems like we would have to drill out these rivets and then re-rivet, you know, the new components. Say our placard was like really scratched. They make reproduction placards and you wanted to have it look, you know, all shiny. You might need to rivet another one. And so I'm just going to, you know, and again, this is my first time taking apart a payphone like this, so I don't really know what we will uncover. Maybe a whole bunch of spiders, a spider nest or something disgusting like that. So let's see here. I haven't seen The Longest Yard in forever. It took me a minute to like remember that scene that you guys were talking about earlier. Rich is saying the whole housing was chrome. Oh my gosh, that must have been kind of expensive. So again, I'm putting these with our little, these are easy to identify because look how long, and then they just have the little threads at the bottom. So these are very different. And I plan to put all this together again anyways, so that way, you know, we can test it. So the idea here is just to make sure that nothing looks like burnt or corroded to the point that you know it's not going to transmit any, you know, any signal. So I'm going to now do this and rest the bell component without tugging the wires in the back here. And I'm going to try and do this for you guys. And there we go. Now let's see what happens. Does anything move? Ooh, look. Okay. Very carefully. All right, so there is some tuggage, and I think it's because of the wires. So I'm going to create some slack back here, allowing us to pull this out a little more, and we can see the wires. And I'm going to switch views again, see what we got going on here, and move this a little bit back. What do we have here? So Rich is saying, indeed, the coin gauge is riveted, can be drilled out and put back with 440 screws. All right, I need to download this chat so I can refer to it later, because you guys are coming up with some either good ideas or just good info. All right, so I'm gonna bring you in a little closer so we can take a look at this mechanism, and I am turning the wrong knob. All right, let me use my body here to hold the gong and move the whole thing back at the same time. There we go. There is one more screw at the bottom on here. This screw right here holds this little guy here. And when we get back there, we're going to see what other screw Dave is talking about, because we'll remove it too. All screws are coming undone, except this guy right here, because we know it holds this little guy here. Looking at the wiring here, it doesn't look bad. It looks shiny enough. There's no, like, I've seen so much worse. So maybe a phone expert would look at this and be like, oh, that's toast, it's horrible. But from looking at some toasty cars, this is looking pretty good. I would love to open a hood of a car and see wiring this clean. And Pinball is saying, Chris Rock rotary phone scene with Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon 4 was hilarious. Lethal Weapon 4 was cool because didn't it introduce Jet Li as just this unstoppable dude? I was like, wow, it's the first time, you know, you saw a lot of martial arts fighting, and both the two guys, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, get their butts handed to them so many times. And Kurt is saying, I love payphones. I would not mind having one in my house. Yeah, you can get them. And so I thought the same thing. That's why I got this one. But at that time, I didn't do my research. I probably could have done a little bit more research. And I thought this one looked cool. And the price was right. So I'm surprised this looks this good for the price. And Merlin is saying, while the dial is out, lubricate it with light oil. All right. That's a good idea. I imagine this thing needs to be lubricated. I have WD-40. I don't know if that's considered light oil, but looking at all the wiring, yeah, I think it looks, you know, good enough to test. And let's see what happens when I'm going to try and dial here. All right, so that little, oh, so this almost works like a cam. See how it's kind of lobed? It's got a lobe on this side and on this side. And so I'm going to do that again and try and release it slowly. You know, hopefully that doesn't, you know, damage it. But so as I release it, this arm right here, you know, makes contact with the lobe. And there's a contact that opens and closes. And that, I'm going to imagine that's what creates your pulses. You know, again, I'm taking an educated guess here. And Larry is saying, connect the points contacts to a car ignition coil and have a Jacob's ladder. Oh my God, come out of the top. Oh my gosh, we actually are doing something similar for our Wrench Army project. We are pumping with an ignition coil, turned a light bulb into a plasma bulb. But listen, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna say no to that. Oh yeah. So that's pretty neat. There is a screw here that there's a cog that turns it. See? And the contact here just opens and closes. And so that's what I think, you know, creates your pulses, which is then transmitted through these wires. So when Merlin said to lubricate it, I'm going to imagine meaning here and probably here as well. But I was going to also call somebody that actually repairs these and, you know, pick their brain a little bit about it. But it seems to be kind of smooth. Nothing's like really hanging up. So Rich is confirming, yes, the contacts produce the pulses. So depending on the number you dial, the more pulses. I imagine the pulses match, you know, whatever number that you dialed. I'm throwing out a whole bunch of educated guesses. So Rich is either confirming or denying my educated guesses. So while we have Rich on, Merlin is saying to use light oil. I also have tool oil to lubricate this. And I'm going to guess that throwing a little oil on this portion right here and this portion right here is the way to do it. But I'm going to hold off on that till I either hear from you or, you know, I don't want to make a mess that then I have to clean. So these all look good. I'm not going to touch these. You know, the point is, do we have enough components and do they look good enough for us to test it next time? So Merlin is saying this looks to be in great shape. I'm thinking too, like, listen, I'm no phone expert, but using my car knowledge and opening up some old electrical in cars, I would be happy to find something like this. So, all right, let's see how this goes. Oh, that is wrong. So maybe I need to twist it. At least I got the nameplate here to kind of help me. And the wires are not being twisted the wrong way. All right. So I'm just going to very carefully put him back here and hold this in place and see if there's any more to take apart for us to look at. And Rich is saying the dial is likely fine. Yes. So for testing, I'm going to try and leave everything as is. And then if we find we do get dial tone, the thing is working, then it's going to be worth taking it apart and cleaning out the contacts, oiling everything as part of our final build. So when Dave was talking about the screw at the bottom, I'm going to think he's meaning this one. And I'm going to have to guess that if these screws held in our dial mechanism, these screws here probably hold in the rotary shroud, that black piece that's around it. So let's see, make sure there's no spider eggs going on back here. And Kurt Benning is going down memory lane. He's saying, drivers, start. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it like the announcer voice, you know, when you listen to NASCAR. Drivers, start your engines. Come on, NASCAR racers. Extreme machines. Quick as lightning. Engines thundering. Go NASCAR. Come on, NASCAR racers. Extreme NASCAR. And then he says, sorry, going down memory lane. Listen, I have been going down memory lane with these phones with you guys talking about hamburger phones and Garfield phones and the coveted banana phone. So I got a list of phones to get myself. And Rich Ball is saying, yes, the shroud. So we are indeed removing the shroud. And Dave Beck is also confirming that, yes, he did mean this. So my strategy has been taking screw heads that look the same off together, you know, and I figure they're both, you know, they're hanging on to the same part. So now I'm going to tilt this back up again. Oh, let me hold on to our gong so we don't... The wiring seems really simple, so if anything comes loose, I could probably figure it out. Which is nice, you know? Sometimes you open something up and it's a spaghetti dinner. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing and see... All right, with the shroud. And I'm going to give us more slack because it always wants to not have enough slack. All right. And Dave is saying on camera, it's hard to see the black edges of stuff. It is real dark, and I got like a light up here and everything. I'm noticing that too. It is like really, really dark. So we already looked at that, but this is the shroud then. And if I were to disconnect these wires, we'd be able to get the shroud off and clean it. So it looks like a little bit of dirt and debris that we can clean off. But it appears even this papery vinyl type of substance seems to be, in really good condition. So I'm going to put this guy back as best I can. And now the shroud is like disaligned. But let me pull the wires back in, and oh, I am upside down. Let's get you right side up, just enough to be able to put you down. There we go. And then I'll have to line up the shroud in order to bolt everything back together. So what I'm going to do now is move this guy aside, and I put all the screws that go along with it, because I'm going to put this thing, after we're done, I'm going to put this all back together again so we can get ready for the test. So I've already ordered a pulse to tone converter, and hopefully that will be in on time. I have phone lines at home. And then I'm going to look into this network thing that Rich Ball was saying, that we still need a network. So, okay, little baby, lay down for your rest. All right, I don't want to, there we go, bang up the, oh, well, this is out of the way. This is kind of neat. All right, now you can see the coin chute much better. And let me back you guys out. Well, not the actual coin chute, but some of the felting that I was talking about. And you can see here, it goes into this slot right here. And some of this is kind of being worn. So this kind of poses some interesting questions for we wanting to put a clock where that faceplate was with the instructions on how to dial. I mean, we got all this stuff in the way and it seems pretty welded on. I would prefer not to have to hack any of this and leave this somewhat original. So in case, you know, we ever want to do something else with it or sell it, you know, in the future. I usually don't sell my projects because they're so much fun. And Dave is saying, or no, Bounty Hunter is saying, probably apply a bit of white grease to the worm gear. Okay. And Dave is saying, are the wire colors unique? It looks as though the dial wires are screwed down. Take a pic, then unscrew. Oh yeah, you better believe. Some of this I am not unscrewing because of just that. I want to be able to take pictures. And the wire colors seem pretty normal, like red, green, orange, nothing that we wouldn't be able to have a tough time finding, you know, I think. But yes, they're all done by spade connectors that are screwed down. So before, of course, if this thing works and then we decide to take it apart and clean it, much pictures are going to happen. So I don't, you know, wire it up wrong. But let's see, Bounty is saying just a dab of 3-in-1 oil on the tops of the gears. All right, that's good. That's some good advice. And Rich is saying use E6000 to glue the felt back. Okay, I've never heard of E6000, but I will look for it. I'm going to download this chat. You guys are giving all the good advice. But that's a clean looking rotary. I thought so too. I was quite surprised because either wires were going to be missing or wires were going to be cracked. Who knows, you know, especially something this old, how it was stored sometimes, you know, just it's not stored so well and then it cracks. So that's kind of like what's going on there. Again, you know, if you guys have ideas on not only converting this phone if it works, if it doesn't, we'll turn it into something, you know, much cooler. But if it works, to retain the phone functionality, but then add on to it, you know, like make it like a necessary piece for either your executive desk or some kind of wall payphone, like my idea of adding this little charger thingy. You know, here we can lose the vault door and put in a wooden panel to be able to have this on, or probably more period correct, instead of steampunkifying it with like dark wood and things, is adding some kind of chrome bezel, you know, situation. Might be kind of neat. Or, this is probably going to be tough to do, but drill a hole to fit this and paint this a chrome color. And there you go. You got your chrome bezel. So that's an idea there. Kurt Benning has got his musical notes going, and Merlin is saying contact cement could also be used on the felt. Yep, just to kind of glue everything down, keep it from, you know, flopping around. Especially since when we put this together, I kind of like it to be, you know, together. And we won't have to take it apart very much anymore. So let's see if our little WD-40 action did any action here. And let's see if I remember which orientation the key went in. I think it's like this. It's still saying nope, not having it. Maybe it's like $500 in here, and this is really Al Capone's safe, and he's like, this is a trick lock or something like this. Oh, so it went all the way in. Not all the way, almost all the way. I think because it is a little bit bent, it's having a little bit of trouble. But we'll leave it in since it's in. so I don't have to struggle with it. And I'm going to lay this down for us to kind of take a look at what's going on here and give you guys a better view. So let me move this we'll start with the top right here. And I'm going to take this off here, but we can see when we move this right here, this portion, this bottom flap touches this top flap right there and makes contact with it. So we know that's probably the way it starts to engage the phone call. Now this is a little bit corroded here, so probably a very light polish, sanding paper, but very light, super, super, super high grit. And Dave is saying East LA that lock too. You know what? I may have to, because I want to crack in that money. Must be a ton of money if it's like protecting itself that much. And Bounty Hunter is saying it does seem to be more modern than the housing implies, though, since I've taken other older phones apart and wiring was cloth covered. Wow, that is old. That's like Frankenstein level old, with the movies and all the wiring was like cloth covered. It is missing its coin bank here. It's got its little hopper situation there. And we can see how the wire comes through here, the phone cable, I should say, through here. And it looks like it loops around itself and connects here. So theoretically, I should be able to change this out for my coil wire that I want. And Pinball saying, cha-ching, open sesame says that, oh, yes. I mean, I could drill her open if I have to, but I feel like I'm almost getting it. So I'm going to keep working on it a little bit more. So let's see, back at our manual here. Let's see what I got going on. So I'll just kind of crouch down here and, let me bring it here. See what parts we should be looking for. We know the big coin relay is missing, like this guy over here, he's gone, which is fine for our purposes. But let's see here, I'm going to scooch this over. We do have number 5, which is our capacitors. And then we have number 6, which is our induction coil right here. Yep, big old coil. It's black, but in our case, it is tan. So we'll take another look at that. Number 1 is our hook switch springs, those little flaps that I was showing you. Number 2 is our terminal block. Yeah, we definitely have that terminal block. Our coin hopper, which normally is hidden behind the coin relay, but we can clearly see ours because we have no coin relay. Number 8 is our transfer springs, which is kind of those spade looking, those metallical bar looking things, which come in contact with the other half of the housing. And then the line switch, which is number 9 down here. And again, the terminals we're going to be interested in is these top 3 right here. These are the top 3 that we are going to be hooking our phone line to. Then it's going to go out this little hole here in the back. So I'm going to switch you guys back to over here. All right, so now we know what we got. Here's our big old relay here that they were talking about, our capacitors, our spring mechanism, and then normally with the newer ones that instead of this terminal block has a actual circuit board, there's like a plug in this general area. I'm just kind of using this thing, is like a locator, but it's like those old computer monitors where it had multiple teeth inside and you would plug it in. That's what it looks like. This works differently. This makes contact with these spades, and you can even see little dots of where those like points on the other half make contact with this. Bill is saying, I think your phone has been rebuilt. It seems too clean to be from the 1950s or 70s. It may be true because I know people in the 70s would rebuild these phones and started to modernize them back then. So it could be. Rich Ball is saying the 4 screws on the back will remove the volt housing. This thing right here? Ooh, we'll have to, I'm going to turn this around and we're going to try that. And Jell is in the house, giving him a little dance. That's awesome. All right. So like I was saying, and I'm going to give you guys, in case you ever want to do your phone, on most phones it's the same. Now, if you read real closely, like right there, where my screwdriver tip is, inside this little indentation, it might be, I'm covering it now I'm revealing it. It says L1, then it says G for ground, and then this third one says L2. So when we wire our wire, we're going to be connecting to these. And then it'll go out to our network and our pulse to tone converter. Now, some of you saying that this may have been touched upon already or refurbished, or I'm kind of suspecting you might be right. Because the coin mechanisms have all been removed and this looks kind of freshly cut, I'm going to assume that this was being used in somebody's house, in somebody's office, and they did the conversion. And what they did was put this phone up on eBay, or where, I don't even remember where I got it, honestly. And they cut the cord so they can keep the conversion and the rest of the components, and they sold this as is. So I'm hoping they didn't put it on eBay because it was broken, and that's why they were selling it. Maybe it's big, it's kind of, clunky. So I get why, maybe it's cool to have, but, we're going to find a cool place where it's going to be useful for us. So, Dave is saying, oh, good, you took the SUV. And Bounty Hunter Breaks is saying, tip and ring. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back. So it looks like we have all the major components that we want. Most of it does not look too rusty. This little guy right here looks a little rusty. This screw and this spade contact does have some buildup around it. So before our test, I may take him apart and just kind of clean him up a little bit. Let's see, any other important contacts all coming from our handset here. Then we have it looks like some rubber bands holding our wires, but the wires look okay. They really don't look horrible. Couple soldering attempts I see that went on there. A little bit of rust building up here, but all the rust is building up on what looks like areas that we're not making contact with anyways. Where we are making contact with these spade connectors look all clean. I mean, look at this. Almost look like newer type of screws for everything. So heck, I ain't gonna complain. So my only concern is looking at this wire, and I'm gonna back you guys out just a tiny bit. See this major kink, and it's pretty flattened. So it could be because the phone fell on it, or the phone was placed on top of it, or who knows, during shipping. So hopefully nothing got broken or kinked in a, irreparable type of way. But that being said, I'm still going to order my cord because that's fixable. We can just put in my big old long spy cord that I want to put. And Bounty Hunter is saying red, tip green, ring. Tip green, ring. Don't know what you mean by that. Rich is saying might be solder flux instead of rust. Oh, you know what? You're right. That's definitely what it could be. Yes. I'm already like, this is so pretty. It's almost like I can't believe it. I'm like, that's gotta be some rust. It's gonna be some rust. Something's gotta be wrong with it because I usually am not this lucky. So, take that back. Take that back. I'm gonna eat those words. Eat them, so we don't jinx the project. But yeah, I think this is good as is to test for next week when later this week. We are adding more streams. Yes, more streams. So we can keep these projects moving as well as, do more projects. So Rich had talked about screws in the back. Now, let me do this without, it's so heavy. All right. And Bounty is saying, I would unscrew the mic and speaker and just ohm out the wires. Oh, yeah. Actually, I haven't even opened these. I don't know what kind of condition if they're even complete. Let's see what the heck is going on here. All right, a little cork situation there. And, this doesn't look bad. It's got our wires. A little bit of a bent ring situation here. And let me see if I can bring you guys a little bit closer. And Larry's saying the cords were super flexible. Litz wire. They are very flexible. Dave is saying, wow, not so armored wire anymore. Red equals tip. Oh, green equals ring for a connector. And Bill's saying, yay, more streams, woohoo. So yes, the intention is to come back on Wednesday. And hopefully by Wednesday, all the parts will be in. If not, I'll definitely find something else for us to do while we move this project forward. And that could be maybe to start integrating the clock that we talked about, or integrating our power supply thingamajig right here to, just fancy it up a little bit, make it a little more useful other than just phone calls. So it looks like, these are real clean, guys. This is a little bit bent here, but I think it's okay. I'm being very generous this stream. So I'll put you back. Okay, and it does look like it has a slot. So you got to make sure you stick it in the right slot, which might be right here. There we go. And let's screw you back on. Now, it does look like, see this seam right here? It would look like you can take this apart like that, but I don't see any screws that would allow me to do that. And this is a bit cross-threaded. There we go. Now, let's take this one apart. And Anthony is saying, when you fix it, who will you call first? That's a great question. I don't know. Oh. Be like, hey, I'm calling you from my old payphone. And Bounty is saying, convert it to a video phone. Ooh, we do have room where I was going to put the clock. Maybe we can put a video screen. Dude, that would be awesome. The ring is bent for tension to eliminate rattle. Okay, so there's a reason, and that makes absolute perfect sense. I was like, oh, this is bent. Here I am trying to find problems, because this is so nice looking. I'm like, oh, that must be a problem. Interesting. So this speaker here seems to make contact with this bar, and that's probably how that connection, I imagine, would work. So again, looking at all the wires inside there, it's looking okay, guys. Even the housing, there's no debris. So I'm beginning to guess, like a lot of you guys, that this phone has been touched upon, somewhat recently, within the last decade, we'll say. Old carbon mic, says Larry, is what this is. So that's pretty cool. And this, look, I would say appears bent, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because it's not bent. It's to reduce rattle, like Merlin is saying. See, that's why I like doing this stuff live. I know a lot of people are afraid, what if I don't know what I'm talking about? I'm like, no, I already admit, that's why I got you guys, so we can get through some of this stuff and learn off of each other. So Larry says a carbon mic. I'm going to go ahead and hang up this phone, and let's see what Rich was talking about. Some screws back here. Now, earlier, I did find some screws back here that I removed, but I don't know if I removed all of them. So let's see what we got going on back here. And I'll scooch this towards you guys. Do I see any screws? There's screws coming from the other side. Oh, wait. I might have to turn this towards me. I might have to cheat a little bit. And I do not see any screws. It looks like I removed them all. So to remove the coin vault, although there are some screws here, let me see if I can show you guys from this view. See this guy right here? So it almost looks like I may be able to remove this and then access the coins in here. Now, one of the cool things that I like that we don't have our coin relay here is that this doesn't have a ringer. So if somebody's calling, I would never know. So this leaves us a decent amount of room to put in an aftermarket, type of ringer. And Dave is saying, I think the headset was molded together along the seam. Maybe that's why, because a lot of times when you see a seam like that up in here, there's usually some kind of access screw that allows you to unscrew the seams together, at least in modern toys and things. So that's what I was expecting, and I didn't see anything, and I sat there scrutinizing it. So that might be the case, but I imagine the wiring is so simple, and these headsets our handsets are not that difficult to find. So if something's wrong kind of in this general region here, I'm sure we can just get another handset. So Rich is saying, you'll see the end of 2 screws from the vault on the back. All right. So I did see what he's talking about. Yes, I was looking for actual screw heads, but I totally saw what you're talking about. I'm just going to lean this back. Lean this back. So here seems to be something, and here seems to be something. And I'm going to cheat and look at it this way. Yeah, so it looks like there's a back of a screw right here where we would access it from the other side. So I need to be able to open that coin vault to be able to unscrew it here. And then here's another screw here, and I'm gonna move this for you guys to see right here. So I'm imagining if I'm able to get that door open and I remove this screw and I remove that other screw, then like Rich saying, I should be able to remove that. And then Rich is saying slot with a Dremel. You'll see the end of 2 screws from the vault on the back, and then slot with a Dremel. Oh, yes. I don't know how I'm going to get in there, though. Oh, but with a diamond tip, I can probably draw a line enough to get a little screw in there and start to screw them out. Dave saying, yep, drill them out. And Bounty Hunter is saying, since it was most likely Bakelite, I would say that the handset is all one piece that might have been ultrasonic welded together or just from the mold. I'm thinking because there's no screws or anything like that, all them theories are probably correct. Rich Ball is saying cutoff wheel. We getting serious now. Yes, cutoff wheel. All right. But it was a shame because I had this key turning yesterday. So let me see if I can just give it a little more encouragement. Because, listen, they're talking about dremeling. They're talking about drilling your butt out. I was seriously consider turning for me because the alternative is not good. So while I mess, it turned. Oh, guys, it works. So if I get a little diva on it, it obeys. Maybe I've been taking this whole gearhead diva thing wrong this whole time, being way too nice to everything. Now it's gonna be like, you best turn or it's your butt. And not just me, but all y'all watching. So first I will kick your butt and then they will come and kick your butt after I have kicked it. So both butt cheeks will be equally tenderized, not just one. So I'm gonna rock this diva thing a little harder. What do you guys think? Anyways, we had bets, everything from, I think it was like 1 penny or 2 pennies to, I think $3-ish, maybe 4 was the highest one that we had. So you guys aren't having enough faith in how rich I'm gonna be. All right, so are we talking yacht level or are we talking like the dollar meal at McDonald's? Here we go. Oh, there's some stuff back there. I'm gonna put it out. We're gonna count it. Rich Ball saying 75 cents. All right, I gotta shake it around. We gotta make sure we get every single one. It smells of nice WD-40 now. So, my perfume of choice. All right. So interesting, and I don't know if Rich might know this, but I've noticed this in 2 spots on this phone. Look inside there. It says 91. So not only does it say 91 in the coin vault, and notice that I'm missing the coin tray. So the vault is here, but normally there's a tray that comes out with it to contain the coins. So when you open this, it just doesn't spill out coins. So that's missing. A lot of people put like a coffee can, like a little coffee can or oil can to catch it in its place, or you can buy one. Again, I'm not too interested, but let's see how rich I am. I'm rich, bitch. All right, so we have 25. Wow, that one looks really old. 25. So I have $1 here, $1.25, 35, 45, 55, 60. Now I can't remember what you guys wagered, but I have $1.60 rocking in here. So I am at the dollar meal McDonald's special price. That's what I've earned. So I think I'm still under because I paid more than $1.60 for this thing. So there's a lot more to make up. So Pinball's got the money bags emojis going for me. And Kurt is saying, well, you could rock it a little harder if you want up to your darling. And then Kurt is saying, oh no, Anthony is saying the coins are old, so they are worth something. You know what? You might be right. Like looking up some of these coins, and I do have some like old coins from like the 1940s that I had just collected, and I'm like, you know what? I should probably hang on to these and see if any of them have any value. So those are gonna go in that pile for me to look up. And Larry is asking, what is the newest date? Oh, Larry's got to make me put my glasses on. 1970. 1987. Okay, so I'm thinking this thing's been touched upon. This is a different quarter. 2002. Yeah, so this thing's probably been worked on. So I'm hoping that it works then for us. 1994, so 1970 is the oldest. And then we have, oh dear guys, gonna make me, I cannot see. So I don't really see anything on the nickels. I'm going to need one of those like magnifying jobbers to look. But it kind of busts my whole, we probably have some really rare coins here because we have a lot of 2000s, 1980s. So I'm thinking this thing was gone through. And I'm highly suspect of that number 91 that we saw in here. And if I kind of bring this back into view, I'll show you where I saw the 91 on the other, which is inside here on the dial. Check that out. See, it's almost like something was scribbled out. I really can't tell even what number was scribbled out, but the 91 was written. So I'm wondering if that's a year that this thing was gone over, maybe refurbished or, modernized in any way. But I am highly suspect that all the coin mechanisms are missing, and this looks freshly cut. I'm going along the line that, hopefully we can get it working, and the person didn't decide to sell it just because it stopped working. Maybe it was just bulky for them. So far, if it ends up working, I'm kind of moving towards painting this like a cool minty green, just sanding down very lightly the black just to scuff it up. And I like to do this outside because you never know how old the paint is and what's in it. So old paint, old stains or varnishes for furniture, I like doing outside. And so we'll get that done. And now, like Rich said, now that I have this coin vault open, I can actually access those screws that he was talking about. And there they are. Actually, they're kind of hidden. I'm going to need some kind of knobby, the 90-degree bends to get to some of them. But it'll probably be easier to get to them without this gold thing, up here. But in any case, the plan is to next week test it, see if we can get it working, paint it a nice minty color. And that's like your basic, restoration. But I want to take this further, so I want to explore some of your guys' ideas about the clock face that we can do on this guy. Let me lift him very gently. So right here, if you remove this, it's solid, so I would hate to cut into it because we have all of those chutes right behind it. It's just gonna like mangle all of them. So if something that we can surface mount on here would be great. We can even make like a little wood that we paint chrome and screw these little screws right here into the wood. So the basics, the foundation is already here. So we can make a cool like executive clock. I can go to the thrift store and see what kind of like desktop alarm clocks they have. Usually they have some antique-y looking ones that we might be able to retrofit in here. So I'm going to take a look at that. Also, your guys' video call idea. I don't know much about that. I do, my LCD screen is too little, but we can get an LCD screen that would fit this and see if through Raspberry Pi or Arduino, there's some way of doing some kind of video call system, because that would be super cool on here. So then, is there a way to also add a desk lamp functionality? Either by going to the thrift shop and finding some cool kind of 1950s lamp that we can put, let's see the receivers on this side. So maybe kind of like, we have a lot of room here if I remove this chute, which I can remove and put away somewhere safe so it's, there. And we can kind of put like a little cool 50s looking light on it. We can even put it from the top if we choose. Since I'm not going to be using the coin mechanism, I could drill out the rivets that hold the coin mechanism and put the little lamp, on top of here. So it's right here. So that might be kind of neat. And again, anytime I remove stuff, I try and do it without damaging it because it's in good condition. Somebody might want it. I might want to put it back later. And we can use the same holes that are used to hold the coin mechanism for our lamp somehow. So we're not drilling any new holes if we use up here. Here, yeah, we'd be drilling, some holes to somehow attach a lamp type of mechanism. We can also put in a hutch. So I'm throwing out all these ideas. Those of you that have not gone on Discord, please do so. We have a channel dedicated to this project where I'm taking all of your guys' ideas, the manuals posted. We went back and forth with ideas on how to get this to work. So do join Discord. It's totally free, and it works just like a forum. For me, I had to kind of learn how it works and stuff, but it's like a live chat, fast-paced moving forum, and it's nice to be able to get all people on there and talk at the same time versus a forum where you post something, you wait a couple days, maybe somebody will come and post something. No, it's like fast moving. So, and Bounty Hunter is saying, looks like might have been originally from 1953. Wow, that old. And Bounty is also saying there's even a 91 on the back side of the coin door. I didn't even notice that, but he's right. There's a 91 right there. So there's 91s, like some kind of secret message going on this phone. Maybe they put 91s to like decurse it everywhere, like when they put the little symbols all over the place. And Dave Beck is saying, Geraldo got nothing on this, Diva. 160 is winning. And Bill is saying, I'm still learning how Discord works. It took me, I'm not going to lie, it took me a little while. I know it's super popular. So I said, let me, get into this Discord thing. I kind of accidentally banned Dave one time, and then I had to unban him and figure out how to do it. I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't notice. I didn't mean to ban him, only because I was learning how to use it, myself. So now I'm much more comfortable with it, and it turns out I really like it because it is. You can talk in real time. I'm there pretty much every night checking your guys' comments. So Kurt is saying, if started a business, I would include a payphone, right? That would be a cool thing to have in your business. Bill Fraser is also saying 91 might be the inspector mark. Inspector number, Larry is saying. So there's a couple of you guys saying that it probably had to do with some kind of inspector mark or identifier or something like that. So I'll go with that. I mean, it was getting kind of, imaginative with my cursed phone theory, but we'll go with what's, keep it simple. Stupid is probably what we should go with. So I worked up a hot sweat. Yeah, that's gross. Taking this together because you can just look at my biceps, just like raising this up and down. Well, sweaty. So thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and now make sure I've ordered all the right parts. Hopefully they'll arrive in time for our Wednesday 11 a.m. stream. If not, I will find another project for us to do until the parts do come in. So that'll be fun now, doing 2 streams per week. And thank you guys so much for joining me. We still have our Wrench Army stream going on, and that's going to take place Friday at 11 a.m. where we're going to continue our plasma bulb, like our Battle Dragon plasma bulb lamp. And like one of you were saying, I think it was Larry, to use an ignition coil and send some high voltage through here for a Jacob's ladder. So we're kind of doing that with this project, and this is going to now take place on Fridays. So if you haven't checked out the Wrench Army, it's an awesome way to support all this. Do so, check it out. If not, I also equally appreciate you guys showing up every single stream with your comments, because that tells the algorithms, hey, we're doing something pretty cool right here. That isn't clickbait, right, people? So thanks again for joining. A lot of you guys are like, yay, Wednesday. We'll have fun. Bye. So bye, guys. Have a rockin' Monday, because that's how we start out. We start rocking our Mondays. And I, too, have learned the greatest lesson is that sometimes you don't have to be nice all the time. Bring out some of the diva. So I want you guys to do the same thing. Reach into your inner diva, because look, that vault door practically pops its own self open out of fear. See you guys. Have a great Monday.